I recently had the opportunity to sit down with the developer from Surroundead, and it was a very insightful and interesting interview. For privacy reason, he didn't want to be on camera, but here are some of the highlights and my thoughts on it. At first, we started to talk a little bit about his background and his motivation on why he was doing this game. Did you know anything about programming before Surrounded, or is it like your first attempt in doing a game? And did you have any knowledge about how to do it before you started?
Put it in 2 words: many passion projects, many failed attempts as well.
Okay, so you already have been familiar with a little bit how this
Yeah,
could go.
mainly Unity to begin with when I was younger.
Yeah, okay.
And then I looked at Unreal, had an attempt at that for about 1 or 2 weeks. That
Yep.
failed. Left, came back probably after that, probably like 1 or 2 years later. Decided I wanted to make a game because I was just sick of other games being released. And
Yeah,
then it came to this day.
yeah, that was a follow-up question. What was your main motivation to create this game? Is it what did annoy you, or what is annoying you about other games?
Uh, just not leaning into the just have fun part.
Okay.
It's like everything just seems to be a bit clamped down.
Okay.
Why not let the player be able to choose what they want to do? Obviously, the player wants to choose multiplayer, which will come later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
very interesting point. I'm completely on your side with that, because I think like all power to the players. If I purchase a game and I want to like fiddle around with the settings, a lot of survival games are doing it these days with
yeah,
customizable difficulty settings. But I think other games would profit from that too. Here you can really feel his passion about giving the player all the powers and choices. And you can see that in the game with the numerous difficulty setting, although it is still early access with sliders for just everything in the game. And we touched back on that later in the interview on how he views this and how it is influencing Surrounded. And next we talked a little bit on why he chose a low poly game. Was it a deliberate choice to go this style because you liked it, because it was something you would be able to do? Or why did you chose to take this low poly approach for the game?
mainly 2 reasons. First reason was modularity. Low poly, it's quicker to make stuff rather than meshes with thousands on thousands of polygons. So it's easier to first of all develop something, concept it, then add it in due to it being low poly. And I just always preferred like the stylized look of it. I mean, I used to play a lot of Unturned. You could say Project Zomboid as well
Yep.
as low poly-ish, just stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think I'm not into like pixel art games, and if I just look at the picture of low poly games, and I was but once you're into the game, I think they have come a long way. So like Surrounded looks really great, I think, even though it is just low poly.
It'd be the lighting and the weather system, I think.
Yeah, the weather system in particular, I like that because the weather is pretty invasive. It's not just like a little bit of rain. You can't hear shit if it's
Yeah,
raining, and you can't see anything if there's fog, and the snow is really impactful and changes the landscape. So that's something I highly appreciate, and it's something that makes the game a lot better. With the game now 2 years old, I asked him if he ran into any unexpected obstacles along the way that he could have not foreseen when he started his journey, and his answer was quite a surprise. Turned it out so far like you planned? Any unexpected obstacles you ran into?
the game doing well. I never thought it would get to this point.
Okay, so you're very satisfied with sales and reception of the game so far.
Oh, more than pleased, to put it simply, to be completely honest.
Okay, great. And that's the only thing that's like unexpected to you. Anything else before diving into this? And now 2 years later, oh god, I didn't expect it to be like this or that.
It just mainly the audience reception to it was the main thing I didn't expect. Because
Okay.
I released it, think, I'll get the money back I put into it at minimum in like a year, and
Yeah,
it's just done way much better than that. And I'm now able to put way more money back into the game.
yeah. You can start hire some people and make a little studio. What about that?
I've been thinking about that. That's for the future.
Right now, the game sits at 89% positive reviews on Steam, and that was definitely something he did not expect to happen. And he's now able to put a lot more effort and time into this game. Next up, I was interested into some insights on how it works to implement new features when he is confronted with wishes from the community. So I have more like a little bit of a technical question for maybe that would be interesting for those who are not like into programming stuff. So maybe you can break it down for like 6 years old a little bit. Let's say I would want a new feature, and let's say a hypothetical, like something like upgrading common weapons to rare ones by combining 4 common weapons, maybe plus some additional materials. What would be the process behind implementing it? How long would it take, and how much work it is?
I mean, it all depends. Like, there's been some systems where one day I've looked at it and I spent like a couple hours working on it and I haven't been able to implement it. I'll come back to the next day and I can implement it in like 30 minutes. That's just some systems. Other systems take weeks. A system like that, unsure, because I'd probably have to look into some of the main inventory systems, the back end code of it, and then start changing stuff. So that would be a bit more time for that type of an example. It all depends on what it's affecting.
Yeah.
Like, is it
Okay.
affecting inventory? Is it affecting the UI? That type of thing.
Okay. So if you have something that's just an addition to what's already there, it would be rather easy in these terms. And if you have like changed basic things like the UI or the inventory system, then it starts to get really complicated. Is
Yeah.
that right? And maybe what are features that you would love to add to the game, but are simply not possible because of technical limitations, or it's just too much work to manage for just one developer? Is there anything that you would like to do, but you just cannot?
One of the main things someone said recently was faction infighting, like factions all over the map, and they're all having proper, not just like skirmishes, they're having proper battles all across the map.
Oh yeah, cool, yeah.
Small skirmishes, possible. Large stuff where it's affecting the whole world, no.
Yeah. So are these limitations of the like the engine, or is a technical limitation, or is it a limitation in just manpower?
Manpower, time limitations. Like, I'd rather go do this feature than look
Yeah.
at doing this massive thing that maybe not everyone will like. Maybe everyone will like it, but there's lots
Yeah.
of other stuff I could do instead to make it
Yeah.
better overall.
Yeah, you have to make like a strategic decision what's
Yeah.
best for the game, and maybe not just always passionate. I want this, but I just cannot do it.
Yeah.
So there's only so much he can do as a single person, and even though he might want to do some crazy things, he has to distribute his limited manpower to the things that are best for the game, and maybe not always the things he wants to do the most. With the 0.6 update just released as part of the bigger Discovery update, I was interested to hear what's next and maybe get a little sneak peek for features that are on its way. We are in the middle of the Discovery update, and it's a multiple stage update. I think it's
Yeah.
three stages, if that's right. What can we expect next? Maybe a little sneak peek here?
So the next major bit for the Discovery Part 2 is going to be infestations, basically a massive rework to that system.
Yeah, they're very basic right now. If you have random infestations, and then you can start to fight them, and they just spawn waves of enemies, if I'm right, after a certain damage threshold is passed. Is that right?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
But the new system that I've been planning and starting to create now, so it's all planned. I've got like an art book I draw in, write down random stuff. Spoke with some people that I work closely with, and we're all looking forward to it
Okay.
because it's just going to add a layer on top of the system that, yeah, I think players will really like it. But then also, I'm going to give the option, if you don't want it, you don't have to play it. You can disable it. Give people that
Okay.
choice.
So you keep your answer very general here, so no specific details on how this works later.
So another thing I will say, another thing is how they're randomized at the moment. There's going to be main ones that think about State of Decay 2 with their plague.
Play card system, yeah?
Yeah, that's it, plague cards.
Oh,
Where
that's it.
it's going to be
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
that's my idea because I really like that system.
Yeah, me too. I think
There
the
will still
play.
be the randomized ones too, which will
Yeah.
come in, let's say, after that without saying too much.
And that sounds really cool, like adding a lot of dynamic to the map, not be aesthetic, because that was one thing of State of Decay 2 with these play cards and then these infestation waves, they would roll out from there. And so you have to face all these little waves until you just really go to the play card and destroy it. So it's a threat, really, you have to deal with at some point.
Yeah,
And I think Days Gone had a similar system where these houses with infestations, with nests, I don't know, not sure how they called it there. And once you start to battle them, everything just wakes up, and you're okay. I
yeah,
have to destroy it now. Well, that sounds really cool. I'm looking
yeah.
forward to that.
There'll be primary and secondary.
So the way he describes these infestations with two different types of infestations and one type being a little bit like the State of Decay play cards sounds really interesting and would add a lot of much needed dynamic to the rather static world as we have it today. It also turns out the next patch is already on its way.
Late this week.
Late this week, okay, we're all
Yes.
okay. Nice.
This is more like a quality of life patch.
Yeah, I got you. As the mean person that I sometimes can be, I wanted to poke him a little bit about how long the early access phase is already going on and how long he expects it to last. But according to the roadmap, we are in phase 2 of 6. And the early access page states that you expected 1 or 2 years of early access. And I guess it's really challenging as a solo developer managing expectations for the game and anything else in your life and finding a somewhat sustainable balance. So from today's point of view, how long would you expect the early access phase to last?
Not too long. Not like Project Zomboid length.
Okay.
So like,
So
I mean, let's say in an ideal world, I would like to say another 1 or 2 years max.
so maybe double as long as expected originally.
Yeah,
But that would mean that you have to go through the 4 stages of your roadmap rather quick, regarding that you just have completed 2 or in the second stage and you have 6 stages planned.
yeah.
Okay, I take that as you're optimistic that it will improve from here on in terms of development
In
speed.
an ideal world, yes.
In an ideal world, of course, yeah. As you can see, he's pretty confident that from this point on, the development speed will increase. And I think it's fair for a single developer to have a game in development for 3 or 4 years in early access, especially if you see other titles on the market that basically never get finished. Next up, I wanted to know if he thinks that mod support would be beneficial for the game. Have you ever thought about doing a workshop modder integration on Steam? And would that be a way to expand the game faster with the creativity and work modders put in? Or would it be too much of a hassle and interfere with just your vision of the game?
Have I looked into it? Yes. Have I looked at actually implementing that at the moment? No, because of the amount of work that has to go into actually be able to make it so
gotcha.
players can modify certain parts.
Yeah. Would it be would it be a feature you would like to see in the game, but it's just not possible at the moment? Or is it something you rather don't like to see in your game?
Actually, modding itself, Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something I would want to see, but leave it at that.
Okay. So don't expect mod support anytime soon in the game. With the roadmap in mind, I wanted to know what upcoming features he is most excited about. Because there are a lot of things on the roadmap, pretty cool things, I think. A lot of things adding more layers to systems that are in the game. But what are things that you are most excited about, and what you might think will change the game a lot?
The quest system.
The quest system. Ah,
Yeah.
okay. That is that something it's scheduled after the end game update? I think it was phase 3, if I recall that correctly. Is that right?
Yeah, it's basically, yeah.
So it's the next big thing that's coming after you
Yeah, it'd
finished
be
on
very
the quest.
big.
He was not going into too much details here, but the quest system is definitely something he's very excited about. And it is another thing that makes the rather static world today much more dynamic, like the infestations or like faction warfare that he mentioned earlier. He would like to add, but he cannot do from a technical point of view right now. So with upcoming additions like the infestations and the quest system, we can expect a much more dynamic and diverse world in the future, and that makes me very excited about the game. At the next part of the interview, we talked a little bit about AI and how much work it is and how difficult it is to make improvements at this specific sector of the game. Question regarding AI, because from the outside, it always seems that this is one of the most challenging and complex things to do for a developer. And usually games improve AI at the very last stages before they go into 1.0. How hard or time consuming is it for you to make improvements on the AI?
It, mainly applying to human AI a lot of time. But
Okay.
it's come with time. Zombie AI, like I'm happy with it to a degree, but it still needs to be looked at, and certain parts need to be redone. Human AI, they need to be completely remade, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I'm not quite happy with how they behave. So I'm looking at doing that as well. But yeah, you've hit it on the head there with the AI. A lot of time.
So it's very hard and time consuming to improve the behavior patterns
Yeah,
of this
it's
thing.
complex.
Yeah, I think the AI at the moment, oh, yeah, it can be exploited very easily. I don't know if you ever tried to enter the observatory from the side, and then
Yeah,
just throw a noise maker, and then everyone's just going downhill. Ever saw
yeah.
that? Yeah, because they always try to flank you, no matter if zombies or human AI. It's just one of these little exploits there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good example. Maybe we can follow up maybe here. If you would like to change this specific behavior, because zombies and human AI at the moment, I think they have something like a flanking mechanism that they try to go to the side, and like at some choke point at the observatory, where there's a steep hill, it's very easy to just lure them in, and then instead of going straight to you, the pathing, they don't take into account the terrain and then just go down the hill. How much work would it be to just fix this one behavior or improve that?
That would mainly be looking at the navigation system, like what
Yeah.
heights can they walk down, what heights can they walk up, sort of thing.
So that they
Just
take the terrain into account.
they already do, but it could be just like a part of that is on the verge of the system, and
Yeah.
it's just that causes them to do that weird behavior.
So as expected, AI tweaking is something that is very complex and time consuming, and I can understand everyone who wants a better AI, because the longer you play the game, the more you get used to the AI behavior patterns and you can outsmart them rather easily. But bear in mind, it is a very complex topic and hard to make improvements here. Next up, we touched a little bit how responsive he is with the community. And if there are any conflicts with his vision of the game, and the wishes from the community. So you are also very responsive and in touch with the community. Which is the best way to share ideas and thoughts with you on the game? Reddit, Discord? What would be your preferred way of input?
All of that. Reddit, Discord, even direct messages.
Okay, Steam discussions also.
Sometimes I haven't been as responsive in there recently, so probably mainly Discord and Reddit are the best places to speak to me directly.
You're a creator of something that you envisioned and love, and then you're confronted with people who want maybe something a little different or more. Is it difficult to maintain a balance between the inputs from the community and what they want versus what you want and stay true to your vision?
Yes, but fortunately, my vision has been quite similar to the community from what I've seen when I do polls and stuff. Sometimes it may be one small thing where I'm like, I think this could be good, and the community go, actually, no. And then I look at it again, and I go, okay, I could do it like this. And people go back and they go, oh, yeah, that's actually, we want that instead.
Yeah. So it's not hard for you to balance like your expectations versus the expectations of the community. So it's more like a working hand in hand a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to say so, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's the best way to do it. And I saw you always have sometimes these polls on Discord where you're asking for a feature and then get the feedback. And so you're always like, okay, if the community made this decision, not me.
It's just kind of like gauge what people think of something. Maybe if some of them I've just thought of and I thought, let's see what people think. Some of them like I've already started looking at implementing, and just before I do, I'll ask people, what do you think of this?
At the end of the interview, we talked a little bit about upcoming experimental features and if he has a message to the community. We wrote about with the latest update that you want to try an experimental map where we can destroy more things and we can do on live. Any news on that?
It's mainly been an organizing objects so that then I can go, okay, all these objects you can do. That's where I'm at the moment.
Okay. Is it also a performance issue if you make things more destructible?
That's why I want to do the test, just to see if it is.
So it might be a performance hit that's too much for the game to handle.
Maybe, maybe not.
So still plans to doing this experimental map at some time?
Yeah.
Okay. Any timeline or time frame you can give us there?
Not really, because it's kind of just like a testing thing that I've been doing in my spare time when I haven't been working on other features.
I have a little bit of a closing questions here, but I guess I already know the answer because you seem to really like what you're doing. But you're now 2 years into the adventure of developing a game. With all the knowledge you have today, knowing how much work awaits you, would you still start on this adventure with all the knowledge or maybe approach something different or just say, oh God, I don't want to do that. It's too much work waiting for me.
I'd 100% do it again. Start straight from the beginning.
Okay. So that's great to hear. So you are here to bring it over the finish line. No worries that it will be abandoned anytime soon.
No plan on that.
Is there anything you would like to add maybe, or maybe tease something, or have a message for the community I could implement in the video?
Keep playing, keep telling me what you like, what you don't like, and all that, yeah.
And with that message to the community, the interview ended at this point. He came across as a very genuine person who is very passionate about his game and very thankful for the reception he has received so far and overwhelmed by the success of the game. And he's just as excited about the new features coming to the game as we are as players. Now that I spent more than 90 hours with the game, I'm really looking forward for all the features he announced, especially the more dynamic events like the infestations or the quest system that is coming, so having a less static world in the future. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope it was interesting and informative, and stay tuned for more Surrounded videos. For now, this is all. Take good care of yourself and enjoy your gaming sessions.